All right, we are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. The Smoke Ring Syndicate back in action. I'm Wes Phillips, the People's Pitmaster, back again, finally, for another episode of the podcast. So I'm joined with Bill Oakley today. You guys may have watched some of his action back in the 90s with The Simpsons, or you may be following him now with his being that he's the big foodie guy on Instagram. Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's great to be here.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Bill Oakley, former writer of The Simpsons, and what did Robert call you? Food. Shoot. Holy cow! I just spaced. Uh,
Robert, well, food celebrity, food influencer. I don't know all those things. It's kind of hard to put your finger on exactly what I am.
yeah,
Food personality, perhaps.
yeah. It's food makers, something like that. Taste
Food.
maker,
Oh yeah,
taste
okay,
maker.
that's a good one.
It was it
Tastemaker.
was a taste maker. That's what it was. So we'll hit the intro and get started. What's up, guys? Wes, the People's Pitmaster, back again for another episode of the Smoke Ring Syndicate. It's my weekly barbecue podcast, drops every Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week, we're joined by Bill Oakley. You know him from growing up on The Simpsons. He's a big foodie. Bill, are you there?
Here I am, excited to be here
Yeah.
today.
Nice to be here. So I appreciate you spending a little time with me. This is actually the first episode back for from our little hiatus. We are back in action finally, getting to talk food, getting to talk barbecue, and I was like, how can you not schedule a big celebrity to
Thank you.
be
Very
the
kind of you to call
the
me a big celebrity.
one? Oh, I was talking about me, Bill.
Okay, good, good. That's even better.
Uh, so, Bill Oakley, you are, you're kind of a producer, a showrunner, all these things in the TV world. I was looking back through your IMDb stuff, and I was like, holy cow! Like I watched a lot of this guy's stuff and had no clue because most of us don't watch the credits
Yeah, yeah.
afterwards, and you don't get the proper recognition, I guess you should say, that you do. Aside from you with the the steamed ham society and all.
Yes.
So, walk me through kind of your early days, your early jobs, and kind of what transitioned you into the tastemaker that you are on Instagram and all that fun stuff.
Gladly, thank you. So um, I began writing comedy in high school with my best friend Josh Weinstein, and when I say we throughout this throughout this biography, I mean me and Josh because we were writing partners for many years. So Josh and I moved to LA and tried to break into TV writing, and we eventually, after a lot of unemployment, we eventually got a job at The Simpsons, which was a big deal back then, and it was very exciting to work there. And we gradually worked our way up to becoming the head writers and showrunners of The Simpsons,
Mhm.
and that was back in the late '90s. And some people have, people seem to have a lot of fondness for those episodes. They're still very popular online. They still create a lot of memes, and they're referenced. They seem to be endlessly referenced online to this day. So that's very satisfying. I also happen to write this one segment. The one thing I wrote by myself when I was there was this thing that became known as steamed hams, which was the internet meme of the year in 2018. It was just a 2 or 3 minute segment in an episode we did, which was a comedy sketch with, I won't even, I can assume that people know what it is or they can Google it. But in any case, it's a euphemism for hamburgers. So
Yeah.
we'll come back to that in a second. So since The Simpsons, I've done many other things, and I was a producer of many other shows, Futurama, Portlandia, Disenchantment, Close Enough, things like that. And over the past, I would say, 6 years, I've sort of transitioned into being a food, I don't know, tastemaker, personality influencer, something of that nature, because I've
Hmm.
always been interested in this topic. I've always been very interested in food, and I wouldn't say the word foodie is not quite accurate. I use food
Yeah.
enthusiast as a thing. It's more like foodie. It tends to be a more of a high end type of thing, and I've constantly been told that I what I traffic in is elevated lowbrow food, which is that's great. That's what I like to eat. Um,
Yeah.
so basically, I started putting stuff on Instagram. I've always been like, since I was a teenager, the kind of guy who wanted to be the first to try the new burger at McDonald's, the new flavor of Slurpee at Shake at 7-Eleven, et cetera, that kind of thing. And I was talking about it on Twitter. And then 6 years ago, I started thinking maybe I should make a video of this. And
Yeah.
started putting them on Instagram, and they got very popular very quickly. And so I have Instagram, which is that Bill Oakley, which has kind of opened a lot of doors for me in terms of the food universe, which, by the way, I like a lot. At least I like a lot more right now than I like the TV universe. The TV business, as you may know, is not in good shape. It's no fun to work in TV. It's very fun for me, at least, to work in food and also be able generally to determine what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to write about, and so forth, as opposed to having some TV executive dictate that. So
Yeah.
generally, I do a lot of things on my Instagram, and also, I repost them other places, but Instagram is the headquarters for them, that are about food. And there's some about fast food, but a lot of it is about frozen food, is about snacks, is about, and also regional food. That's become one of my things this year. Is I've been doing a lot of traveling and going to places like Pittsburgh and Hawaii and all sorts of places all over America, and trying their regional foods,
Yeah.
and posting about them, making videos about them, which have been great, like the North Shore roast beef sandwich outside of Boston, which blew my mind, and the Primanti brothers sandwich in Pittsburgh, a lot of sandwiches, I guess, things of that nature. But yeah, no, the Rhode Island clam chowder, for instance, things of that nature. So I'm kind of a food, and I also appear on TV with regards to food. I'm on the History Channel show, The Food
Yep.
That Built America, as a regular. I appeared on Somebody Feed Phil in a segment that was only online, and I've been on actually on our local TV almost every month. I'm on our one of our local channels, our local ABC affiliate, talking about snacks and frozen pizzas and things like that. So I'm
Yeah.
transitioning into a career as a food celebrity, and I hope that appearing on the Smoke Ring Syndicate can help push that along.
Yes. Both folks, both people watching right now are steaming with
Okay,
anticipation
good. Well,
of
they
it.
know where to reach me with all the opportunities and endorsement deals that they would like to make. That you please reach out. Don't be shy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you kind of you went to college or learned to be a writer, a little bit of both probably,
Mhm.
and you've transitioned into the food segment. Classically trained chef or standing under your parents' feet growing up, learning to cook, or not a very good cook, a better eater.
I'm I'm definitely a better eater. I can cook a little bit, but I generally I follow recipe. I have a lot of ambition in terms of cooking, but I can't
Mhm.
really, I'm not succeeding to the level that I would like. I can cook. I cook really good hamburgers. I can do things like that. I can follow a recipe. I can make shrimp etouffee. I can make something really complicated if I have a recipe that I can follow. But I'm not creating a lot of stuff in the kitchen, which I would like to do, honestly. But
Yeah,
I still do have a career as a writer that actually what pays the bills. So, for 8 hours a day, I'm still writing things,
yeah,
and then this other stuff tends to be on the weekends and around the edges.
yeah. So not a big cooker, better at the eating portion of
Yeah,
it, and
I would
little.
like to cook more. I've actually looked into going to I've taken some classes into learning about things like this, and I would definitely like to do it. Um, Given when there's time, and hopefully there will be time in the next year or so for me to do more of that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Um, More indoor cooking, more outdoor cooking, or a little of both.
A little of both, actually. I don't really have I'm going to need to upgrade my equipment for both of those things, but I would like to do a little bit of both. I'm very interested in the barbecue style stuff, um, and I would love to and I know that part of the reason that I'm here is because I'm actually doing a collaboration with Bill Dumas coming up in the fall, and
Hmm.
I'm doing another one. As it turns out, I'm doing another one. Prior to that, in July, here in my hometown of Portland, that is what we call what at least I'm calling in Portland a Bill Oakley culinary event, which is where there's a chef making stuff, but then there's me talking about it, and there's me doing kind of like a almost kind of a humorous routine where I talk about the history of hamburgers, and I have kind of a slideshow type thing to go along with it. That is
Yeah.
more like a humorous talk to ease you into the world that we're talking about while you're eating or while you're learning how to make these items.
Yeah. So, I think I figured out the perfect grill for you to start with is the little yellow Simpsons kettle. I don't know if you ended up finding one of those, but
I never
I
seen
was
that.
just I was just saying, I've got a friend of mine down in Florida, Rub Bagby. He's a avid Weber kettle collector, and he's got he. I assume he probably still has the Simpsons yellow kettle that in his collection. There, he may part with.
Wow, I
Get you
never even
started with
heard about
that.
that. That's the typical of working on The Simpsons is that there's always all sorts of merchandise and cool stuff that you never see, you never get for one, and you never
Yeah,
see even.
yeah. So, uh, with the event coming up in July, your hamburgers and being the hamburger heckler, or something similar to
Yeah.
it, talking about the food, and you're a regular on the History Channel as I believe they put it as a fast food expert.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they changed it to
it's,
food influencer this season, which is fine. That makes me seem more
that
important.
that sounds more legit, I think, and
Uh-huh.
than fast food expert. Um, So going into the fall this year with Bill DeMoss, who is a wealth of information when it comes to sausage. I had him when I had him on the show, and just in chatting and just in general, can tell you just about everything there is to know about sausage. So kind of talk me through what linked you guys up and kind of what you guys are going to do with the sausage sensei.
Well, when I visited Austin last Halloween, actually do it. I'm doing this appearance. I'm doing regular appearance for anyone who's in Austin. Um, at this bar, there's one of those bars where they turn it into Moe's Tavern for Halloween, and
Hmm.
it's a beautiful thing. Just follow my Instagram or whatever for information about it. We're doing it again this year, and so when I was there last year, a friend of mine, who also was kind of a food type, uh, it took me over to Brotherton's Pit Barbecue where Bill was
Hmm.
working and met. And we met. It was very exciting to meet Bill because I feel like he's the most famous sausage guy there is, right? I mean, he's the sausage sensei, and
Yeah,
he makes all for people who haven't heard the other episodes. I mean, Bill is the sausage guy, is like the most ambitious and probably the most famous sausage maker in America. So
yeah,
I was very excited to meet him, and he, gave us a tour of the place. He gave us an absolutely delicious meal, and Bill and I stayed in touch. And he actually made some sausages. He sent me some of those Thanksgiving sausages, by the way, that he made that were absolutely delicious. But he also made some special steamed ham sausages for the members of my club, the Steamed Ham
yeah,
Society, which is a food club. If anybody who wants to join, go to steamedhamsociety.com. It's basically a Discord. We talk about food all day long, all over the country, hundreds of people. Um, Bill, we had an event here in Portland for the members, and Bill made steamed hams sausages. And steamed hams, as I said, is a euphemism for hamburgers. So what he did was
yeah,
basically put the ingredients of a hamburger, including the meat, the buns, the cheese, the pickles, the onions, and so forth, all into a sausage that was also
yeah,
incredibly delicious. We ate
yeah,
them all up. And so Bill, actually, I think it was Bill's suggestion that we do a collaboration.
yeah.
And so this fall at his current headquarters, which is in Seguin at
Hmm.
Schultz Pit Room,
Schultz pit room.
Bill and I are going to do a ticketed event shortly before Halloween, which is going to be a kind of a sausage tour of America, where Bill and I, some of the things I just discussed, for instance, the North Shore roast beef sandwich, things like that, are going to be either made into sausages or we're going to serve the dish with with a sausage element. So
Hmm.
there's going to be an interesting, it's going to be a deep dive into regional American foods as seen through sausage, with me emceeing and Bill obviously too, and him providing the food in the menu. There'll also be custom cocktails and so forth. And anybody who's interested in that, obviously follow Bill or my socials for how to get tickets and come to Seguin. And we look forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. It's that's going to be a really big time because I know that Schultz's pit room was super excited to bring Bill on, and Bill. I mean, I feel like Bill's traveling every single week to somewhere different to do
Yeah, he
sausage
is. He does seem to
somewhere.
be. If you follow him on Facebook or whatever, you get to see
Yeah.
his travels, and he's always at some like barbecue festival or some, or he's teaching a
Hmm.
class in Australia or something. It's like
Yeah.
he's in demand.
Yeah. He's big time in demand, and I know he was doing last year. I think he was doing monthly classes out in California, down in Diamond Bar with Harry, and so he's was already a big person in the world of barbecue, but he's kind of crossed over from barbecue into everything else now.
He's a celebrity
I mean,
chef.
like his
He's a
celebrity
celebrity
chef,
chef. Yeah.
partnering with you, and I mean, like if you ask him, did you ever think you were going to link up with this guy that wrote from The Simpsons? He would never have believed it.
He's a fun guy. He's got a great sense of humor too, which I think is part of the reason that we get along.
He's hilarious. He's hilarious. I had a ball having him on. That was a that was a 3 month in the making, trying to get our schedules to line up. Because he was doing a lot of travel
Yeah.
at the time that he and I finally got to link up and do the show. But I had no, like, I knew he was a big sausage guy, and I knew he was kind of a household, like, barbecue household name with sausage, but I had no clue to what extent he knew, sausage and the craft. And he's got a true appreciation for what it is and how it became, something in Texas and, in America. So
Yeah.
that event is going to be, uh, I can imagine, a massive success, but probably massively delicious because he does a deep dive into everything he does. Like with he did the peach cobbler
Yes.
sausage.
That's And the thing about it is those things, I think to the uninitiated, those sound weird and crazy, but they always end up being delicious. Like
Yeah,
he's not doing it like as a stunt, like you want to eat something gross on Instagram. He
yeah,
actually he uses the ingredients of peach cobbler, for example, to make something that's totally unique and also delicious in a new way.
yeah, yeah. I can only imagine the just some of the stuff that's going to come out, for you guys' event in this fall. I'm just like, I'm almost like, how can I end up in Seguin
Yes,
come fall?
absolutely. You will love it. You should come.
Yeah. So we're doing this, and you're all over the Instagrams with random food tastings, and you're at the trade shows, and
Yes.
that's
Yes. I was at the National Restaurant Show in Chicago like 2 or 3 weeks ago,
yeah,
which is amazing. If you guys I'm sure there's quite a significant barbecue element to that show, but it's yeah, I still have many videos of things I haven't even posted yet, but it's like a circus of food stuff and like not just food preparation. I mean, there's obviously one third of it is probably devoted to kitchen equipment. I mean, there's a lot of new innovative robot cooking systems and things like that.
hmm
But there's also like there's an element of like Coca-Cola is there, trying to get people to have Coca-Cola in their restaurants, and Heinz Kraft is there trying to show off all the various condiments that you can have in your restaurants. And there's dozens of also like new beverages. There's so many marijuana beverages. There are a lot that was there this year. But there's
really,
also and there's a huge section of international thing like Italy. There's a China section. There's a South Pacific section. It's really amazing. And I walked almost 14 miles in 2 days just in the convention center, seeing all that stuff. And I did finally see everything, but I just barely did. And it's provided a lot of information, and I made a lot of contacts and
yeah,
friends. Hopefully, going to result in some collaborations with some various brands, and
yeah.
also some videos that I've made. I already put up two, including a rare trip inside the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, which I
I
posted.
saw that.
That is a good one. And then I have a couple other ones coming up. I got generated so much material there that it's still coming out.
Yeah. So, like with all the material you're doing, are you? I mean, are you the editor, or are you paying somebody to do this? Do you have somebody that's doing
No,
the
I do it all, and I do
clipping?
it all on my phone. I do That's the thing. I'm still, like, using when I started this whole thing, that I made my first video in May of 2018 because it was the day that McDonald's launched the new not frozen fresh beef quarter pounders. And
Hmm.
I was gonna just go and I was just gonna go, read it and like a photo and put it on Twitter. But then I was like, yeah, maybe I should make a video. People making videos these days. It took me all afternoon to string together 3 shots. I didn't have any idea how to do it.
Yeah,
So now I would say I'm an expert at editing on my phone. Although I would like
yeah,
to be able to move to the computer because it seems a lot easier than having to go like this all the time and squint at the phone. But so no, every single thing is done by me on my phone, which is why honestly I'm not, I'd like to be doing more of this stuff, but it's
yeah,
time consuming. And so maybe if I can get out one video a week, I feel lucky.
yeah. So the food videos, and you're getting, I'm sure, inundated with requests to, hey, this company's coming out with this company is coming out with this. Do you see sponsorships and like an eventual pull away from the writing stuff, or is it always going to be kind of a double thing? Is it just a hobby that you enjoy on the side, or what do you see long term with that?
I actually foresee a blending of the two. I would prefer to. The ideal situation would be that I would get some sort of series of sponsorships, or also just honestly, if I could make a living doing these culinary events, doing one every month in various cities or whatever. Because I'm already traveling around for this other thing I'm doing, which is the 25th anniversary of this cartoon that Josh and I created that we're showing in movie theaters. So
Hmm.
I do a lot of traveling, and I'm actually starting later this fall to do my first, like, basically kind of food. It's more like a food comedy routine, it's like, come for an hour, you're going to learn about American food, it'll be funny, and then maybe you'll get some food afterwards. That's kind of the thing that happens. It's and other people have done this in the past. People more famous than me, like Phil Rosenthal and Anthony Bourdain, have done this type of thing. That's what I would like to get into. But as you said,
Yeah,
yes, anybody who watches TV knows that the TV business is in bad shape. There's 4,000 shows. 10 people are watching each of them. That's not a sustainable business for them or for the people who are in the business. So I also am sick of that crap. So I'd much rather write my own things and have them be and produce my own things as I do and have them be in the food realm. Now,
yeah,
I also part of what happens though is because I'm known. I was originally known as the Gordon Ramsay. Someone dubbed me the Gordon Ramsay of fast food because and being Gordon. I'm not Gordon Ramsay, and I'm a chef. I'm Gordon Ramsay, and then I am an unforgiving critic of certain
yeah,
types of things. So I think I've alienated a fair number of companies by saying that they're whatever they're. This certain fast food chain item sucks or whatever. It's a
yeah,
fucking it's a like, I guess I can curse on this podcast. It's a low effort pile of bullshit that they just put out to get a whole bunch of likes or whatever on Instagram for 2 days, and it stinks. Don't go get it. So I say stuff like that. That
yeah,
doesn't make them want to sponsor me. And it also doesn't make other brands want to sponsor me. So it can't be Bud Light presents Bill Oakley socks it to Burger King. Bud Light doesn't want to be in that business, you know. So I think it's a tricky act to follow. I would like to have a sponsorship where it was like for some product that I genuinely liked, that would understand where I'm coming from. And obviously, I wouldn't attach their name to the derogatory material. I wouldn't,
yeah,
so, but yes, theoretically, that's where I'd like to be. I would like to be in a space where I do have a sponsorship, or I have honestly just a lot more members of the Steamed Ham Society, because then I don't have to worry about offending any particular manufacturers or restaurants,
yeah,
you know. So we have, Steve Ham Society right now has about 300 members all over the country, and it's a very vibrant place to learn about stuff, man. Like there's no other better source for like what new fast food items are coming out, what stuff is good,
hmm,
what stuff isn't. And also it's not just like fast food, it's also like there's a lot of there's a fair number of barbecue guys and some barbecue professionals on there, and other
yeah,
other people from the Restaurant Business Magazine and other chefs and journalists, and just a lot of people who are very interested in it. So that's also part of what I like, part of what is my business of food at this
Yeah.
point.
It's kind of interesting that I mean, like, it was a Simpsons episode which turned into a meme, which has turned into a group of
Yeah.
foodies and food professionals and food lovers, and it's kind of fascinating. I was
Well, you
kind of
see,
looking
right
and reading
behind
some
me,
of that
there
stuff.
was a poster last year. We made a Steamed Hams beer,
That's the
and
beer.
it was from Level Beer here in Portland. We made a Steamed Hams. It says Bill Oakley's. You can't quite see it probably, but it says Bill Oakley's Steamed Hams Lager, and it was a beer that was designed specifically to go with hamburgers because, as I
Mm,
said, it's a euphemism for hamburger. I feel like too many beers get in the way of your enjoyment of hamburgers. That the beer wants to be the star of the show, whereas there's a lot of beers generally that are kind of like, they're not thought of very highly, like Miller Lite or whatever, that go
mhm.
great with burgers. So I was like, let's make a really carefully made beer that goes great with burgers. We did tons of taste tests and so forth. We sampled them with McDonald's burgers, with homemade burgers and stuff, and came up with this beer that honestly is the best. It goes so well with burgers. It makes both the beer and the burger taste better. And it's now, I
Yeah,
think it's all sold out now, but hopefully maybe it'll come back for this next summer.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like a limited release type deal,
Yeah.
almost like a faux rib sandwich at a fast food place
Yes,
would
precisely
be.
like that.
Uh, what what do you think? Up, down, just for that, just for that.
Oh, for the McRib? Uh,
Yeah,
here's the thing about the McRib. I think it's perfectly fine. It operates. It's not. I wrote an article about this actually for, I think it was for Food and Wine magazine, about the
wow.
McRib, because the McRib's not is independent. If the McRib came out today, it would be laughed out of the restaurant. But it's
Yeah,
a nostalgia item, like the
yeah,
Burger King long chicken sandwich, which also came out in like 1978. Like again, if Burger King were to launch that long chicken sandwich today, people would laugh it off the menu because it's like a frozen chicken patty that you could easily buy in the grocery
yeah,
store on a bun. The same with McRib. McRib is so laughably fake. I mean, it's not a rib. That's not rib meat. It's pork shoulder, which is not the same as ribs to begin with.
yeah,
And then it's
yeah,
fashioned into a rib shape. I think it tastes pretty good, but
yeah,
it's a nostalgia item for sure, which is why they
yeah,
they play it that thing. They keep saying this is the final, the farewell tour, which they've said like 7 times now for the McRib.
yeah.
They bring it back based. Some people think it's based on pork prices, but I think there's other factors in play. So I like to have one when it comes out, and I
Okay.
do. I think it's pretty good, but it's entirely because of the nostalgia. It is a relic of an era when people didn't care how fake their fast food was. Now people are a little
Yeah,
more cognizant of that.
yeah. Well, I mean, and it's the nostalgia factor. Like I've got a buddy of mine out in Texas, and a matter of fact, he's in Seguin, also, and he's a huge barbecue guy, and he's also a huge McRib lover. And I'm like, really, dude, really? But it's the nostalgia, I guess,
It's
brings it back.
Yeah, I think again, if somebody were trying to serve that seriously today, they would be a laughing stock. But it's a nostalgia item. It does taste good, and it's very much like it's fake. And a lot of fast food that has been it's kind of been grandfathered in because we liked it when we were young. We know it's
Hmm.
fake, but we overlook that because it tastes good and it reminds us of it reminds us of our youth.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just fascinating. I hadn't even thought about the chicken sandwich at Burger King. Like, I really like that little sandwich,
Yeah.
and I mean, like, there's no chicken that's that shape.
No.
It's
No, but it tastes
it's
pretty good, and it's again, it's that's a relic of times when everybody fake food was the 70s. People were faking food right and left, and it didn't matter. That was
yeah.
considered to be, sort of futuristic.
There's some futuristic ribs and chicken
Yeah.
sandwiches. So the with the social media stuff and with your writing on stuff and hopefully the eventual collaboration of the two is kind of where you're seeing um, you go. You want to be a TV personality, or do you want to produce a show that is doing what you're doing now but on a fancier scale?
Well, I would like to be the personality. I think that I somehow have after doing I don't know how many thousand videos, I've gotten better. I've gotten pretty good at appearing on TV, and I think I'm.
Hmm.
But I didn't have to be TV again. As I said, TV is not necessarily the way of the future.
A
I would just
stream of some sort.
yeah, I would like to be the host of whatever it is. I would happily write and create it, but I also would like to be the host of whatever it is as well, because that's part of my, quote unquote brand that,
Yeah.
that Bill Oakley endorses. Bill Oakley says these are the best Lay's potato chips in years. You should go try them. Just much like Oprah, that's what I want to do. You know how what Oprah says at the end of the
That's it.
year, like
The
these are my
the
favorite things. These caramels
Yeah.
are my favorite caramels, and the company sells 10 million boxes. That's what I
Yeah.
want to be. I want to be for food and potato chips and frozen pizzas.
Yeah. Well, that's not terrible. It's not a terrible goal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly other folks that are doing that in the world. But I mean, I feel like 1,000 videos in, you probably got a pretty good head start on making it happen.
I'm much more critical too. I think that's part of the thing. That, again, people always like my extremely critical videos the most, and I don't set out to criticize to roast these things, but it does make
Yeah.
me extremely mad when they stink because they're taking advantage of people, and that's so that I don't know. That's part of the line I have to tread is that I believe me, I'm not just endorsing stuff because I want free stuff mailed to me. I want,
Yeah.
I'm happy to have stuff mailed to me if I like it, but in general, I give you my honest, 100% honest opinion, no matter how how, how it will come across.
Yeah. So when it comes to the new fast food things and the like, I know I saw something where you were praising the Arby's fish sandwich.
Yes, well,
Um,
that's a couple years ago. That Arby's, Arby's. I want to say this about Arby's. I wouldn't. I would like to endorse Arby's. I think in general, Arby's is really good. And I was just posting about this yesterday because they just demolished. We only have one left in this town now. The other ones,
mhm,
there's some out in the suburbs. But that's a 20, 30, 40 minute drive. There's only one left anywhere near me anymore. And because I was going to go yesterday. They demolished it and they're making it into a Chipotle. and,
yeah,
and it infuriated me because we have
yeah,
way too many of Chipotle's. Nothing against Chipotle. We have way too many Chipotle's, way too few Arby's. I like Arby's. I like the stuff on the menu. I like the roast beef. I think they have a lot of missteps as well, but I like that it's not just the same old stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, the Arby's thing, their fish sandwich, which they only bring out for Lent, and sometimes for like fish sandwiches all come out during Lent generally because of the Catholic
hmm,
can't. There's I think that guy they got rid of that 30 years ago, but it's still become a thing to eat fish during Lent. So Arby's brought this fish sandwich out, and it was the best. It was definitely of all the fast food fish sandwiches, Arby's was the best, and it was shocking that that was the case. So yeah, it did win one of my awards. I have annual awards that I do at the end of the year, the Steamy Awards, where there's categories for fast food and for snack food, for hot sauces and stuff, and it did, and I heartily endorse. Now they may have changed it in the past 2 or 3 years, but
hmm,
back then it was absolutely the best fish sandwich out there.
yeah, yeah. I was kind of the fish sandwich was on my mind, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he just recently posted that he was mad that they killed an Arby's near him. But
That was
what I
yesterday,
was
yeah. That got a lot of
what I,
traction for some reason because I went to the
yeah,
Arby's yesterday for lunch and it was demolished. So
yeah.
I didn't like that.
Well, what I wanted to get with the Arby's is just because as far as like you are the fast food guy, um, and obviously I do Smoke Ring Syndicate as kind of a barbecue flavor show. Arby's is probably one of the only ones that's doing a brisket sandwich or a kinda almost could be construed as barbecue type sandwiches, like on
Yeah.
a fast food
Yeah.
level. Thoughts on them, on
Well,
their brisket sandwiches,
I
and then we'll kind of transition into a little more established sit down barbecue.
sure. Okay. Well, by the way, we don't have Cookout here, but everybody tells me Cookout has some great barbecue sandwiches. Unfortunately, we have oh, okay, they're not that see. I'm not sure I'm getting the real story about Cookout, but at least they're trying. No place
Yeah.
else has barbecue sandwiches that I can think of at all. Arby's, again, we only have one left out here. They attempt to do stuff like that, and I've liked some of their stuff. Like they're often doing ambitious stuff. Like they had a duck sandwich a couple years ago. They had a deer venison sandwich, neither of which were amazing, but I admire them trying.
Yeah.
Um, they're I think in general, their meat stuff is pretty good. Um, I'm aware now that Arby's is not really roast beef. It's a roasted beef product. The roast beef is not. It's much more like it's a heavily processed the loaf of roasted beef that is thin sliced.
It's fancy lunch meat. You know,
Yeah,
we all
that's how they
kind of
can
we
sell
all
it for
understand it's
five
fancy.
sandwiches for $5 when in fact roast beef is $14.99 a pound at the supermarket. This was pointed out in a Saturday Night Live skit a few months ago that was pretty funny. But in general, I like their stuff. The brisket and stuff has been pretty good. Um, I've never thought any of that stuff was like an A plus. Their fish sandwich is the only A plus there, but I love the beef and cheddar. I realize it's very fake, but the regular old beef and cheddar and all the variations of it at Arby's are what keeps me coming back. And also, I like
Mhm.
those market fresh sandwiches too. I haven't had one in years, but I like that they're out. They're out there. I mean, I could eat. Arby's has a really unique menu compared to
They
other
do.
fast food places, and I admire that. And there's always something there I want to try.
Yeah. So, with regards to barbecue for that, as far as commercially available barbecue to you, local to you, I mean, do you guys have Famous Dave's, Sonny's, Jim and Nick's, any of the big, I call them big
We
three,
do.
big
We have some
four?
of this stuff. It's like I'll tell you first of all, just to give you a little bit of background. My favorite barbecue is Carolina style, is North Carolina style barbecue, pulled pork
Okay.
sandwiches. We had as a kid, we used to go to North Carolina and South Carolina a lot. So my exposure to barbecue was fairly consistently South Carolina style mustard based barbecue, like from
Okay.
Bessinger's and North Carolina style ones with the vinegar sauce.
Okay.
And I actually did a tour of North Carolina, I think 20 years ago, where I went to some of the famous ones like the Pete Jones Skyline Inn or whatever it's called, um,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So that's what I have. That's what I make. I order that stuff whenever I can get it. I order it online and I make the sandwiches here because there's no place doing it in this town. There used to be a place and it went out of business. Um, there's we have a really weird. I mean, Portland is actually known as as one of the best culinary cities in America. Um,
Hmm.
and because we have an incredible amount of food here, and it's the cost of entry is not as so high because you can start a food cart or a food truck here for much less than it would cost anywhere else on the
Hmm.
West Coast. So we have an incredible amount. We have incredible culinary scene here. A lot of James Beard award-winning chefs, a selection of anything you want, Burmese food, and things like that. But at barbecue, we have some good barbecue places. We have some incredible award-winning ones like Podness Pit and Matt's Barbecue Tacos. None of them are really doing the kind that I like, though. They're doing more Texas
Hmm.
style barbecue. Um, and we do have Famous Dave's. That's the only one of the places you listed that we have. We also used to have, um, God, what's the name of that place now? It's a chain. It's more of a fast food chain barbecue
Dream.
place.
I'm trying to think.
It has a bright yellow logo. I can't
Dickies.
remember I can't remember what it's called, but it's a
Dickies.
chain. Yes, Dickies. I actually like Dickies quite a bit, but all of those local ones seem to have gone out of business as well. So, like, we don't have a huge amount of barbecue chain type places here. We do have a Famous Dave's. Um, I've never really loved Famous Dave's that much. I like some of their
Mhm.
barbecue sauces, but I haven't loved it enough to go wait in line. Always has a line and so forth. Um,
Yeah.
and so I generally for barbecue, honestly, what I do is I order barbecue from goldbelly.com or some similar places that ship it from places in South Carolina, North Carolina, or um, Arkansas. That was actually the best barbecue I've had in years. Was a pulled pork from a place in Arkansas that made it kind of in a Carolina style. So that's when I'm really wanting barbecue. I could obviously go to Matt's Barbecue, which is the primo place here in Portland. But
Hmm.
like I said, that's more like beef ribs, Texas style stuff. For the kind I like, I have to mail order it generally.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's more of a Carolina style barbecue that you're into, the mustard and the vinegar.
I love
Um,
that stuff. Some people really don't like that vinegar sauce, but once you get used to it, like there's nothing like it. And it is weird because it's not like any barbecue sauce, tending more towards the ketchupy side or whatever.
Yeah,
When people see this vinegar and it's just like it's a bottle of of cider vinegar basically that you're pouring on your
yeah,
barbecue, many
yeah,
people are appalled at first, but like, man, that
yeah,
with this coleslaw on it, on a bun, that's what I like. And not a fancy bun either, not a bun with lots of seeds or chewy bun or whatever. Basically, your standard supermarket burger bun. I
yeah.
could eat 1,000 of those.
1,000. It's good.
Well,
That's a good
I
number.
could honestly eat at least 8 of them in one sitting, no problem.
Yeah. So it sounds like we've got a local place. Uh, they're actually the oldest in the state of Georgia. Been around since 1929. Fresh Air Barbecue. It's probably 30 to 40 minutes from me. I'm not a huge fan of, but they have a very vinegar-esque sauce that you would probably dig
Mm.
quite a bit. And then we've got the oldest, I believe, last I checked, the oldest barbecue sauce in America that's bottled south, about an hour south of me. That is actually the family that started it. The Griffins were in South Carolina. They made a mustard sauce, and when they moved to Georgia, Georgia had a little more ketchupy, so they actually added the.
What's the
Uh,
name of that? I want to order some.
it is Mrs. Griffith's barbecue.
Okay, I'm gonna order some.
But it's basically it's a mustard sauce that they added tomato paste to give it an almost an orange hue. I had a bottle. I think the bottle's upstairs. Um, I had a
Oh,
little
I found
bottle
it.
here.
Mrs. Griffin's barbecue sauce.
Yep.
I found okay, and I can get it. You can get it on Amazon or something like that. So great, I'll order that and
Yeah.
give it a try. What do you
Yeah.
put it on?
Um, I really haven't found anything that I didn't care for it on. I mean, it's good on pulled pork. I mean, it's good on chicken. I like it more of a dipping sauce than I do as a like a put it on while
Yeah,
the grill's hot type deal.
yeah.
Like honestly, as silly as it sounds, which is actually probably right up your alley, chicken tenders. Like a really good chicken tender is awesome.
I can I completely agree. And I think the air, by the way, everybody knows this already. The air fryer is the miracle appliance for cooking stuff like that. Like it's so much better than it comes than the oven or whatever.
Sorry, my earpiece here. So
Oh,
much
that's
better than an air fryer.
oh no, the air fryer is the way to cook it. It's so much better than anything that I'm sure you got all your listeners know this, that anything that you want to have crispy that you would normally have had a hard time getting crispy at home, get an air fryer for $49. And it's like I've been using that thing for so much, like chicken tenders and also other things like fat, like frozen things like hot pockets, uh, Totino's pizza rolls, things like that come out. They're astonishingly better in an air fryer. And
Yeah,
as I was gonna say, chicken tenders, yes, that's one of the things that I eat. I didn't used to eat a lot of chicken tenders, but now I put them in the air fryer and I have my little array of sauces. I got my barbecue sauces. I got some other sauces that I mix up, and it's a pretty satisfying meal.
yeah. Well, you mentioned the Tortino's pizza. Those are great in air fryer, but I got to tell you, if you have a grill and you pop them on the grill like you would like in your oven,
You mean
that
the
little
pizza that are
smoke
like
flake.
the square pizzas that are like
No,
big crackers,
I'm
pizza
talking about
rolls, the pizza
the
rolls?
rolls.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
You put them on the
yes,
grill? Oh my god, I got to
yes.
try that.
Yeah. So it's almost it's obviously it's not a high end brick oven pizza, but it has that smoke flavor with the
Ooh.
pizza, and that's a
Okay, I'm
guilty
gonna try that.
pleasure for me.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that piece of
guilty
information.
pleasure for me. And well, actually, when I used to compete in barbecue, the Friday night meal for me almost always was the flat Tortino's pizza that I would throw on the grill.
I love it.
The cheaper the better. The cheap Jack's pizza
Yeah,
on the grill, that is the bee's knees. It's good stuff.
fantastic.
So, have you got anything else up your sleeve coming up, or are we just gonna gradually watch you morph into the Gordon Ramsay
I certainly hope
of?
so. I have a lot of projects that are kind of in development or whatever that are kind of. But the thing I'm, this second half of this year, it's going to be these two culinary events. I have a couple other events. I'm doing food talks at certain places, um, and uh, and also just the Instagram. My Instagram is the place to, if you have any interest in following the stuff I'm doing, just follow me at that Bill Oakley on Instagram, and also on the same thing on Twitter, where I'll be posting about it. There'll be a lot of hype about the culinary events. There will be other things, and I will link to them if you have an interest in following them, or if you want to get all that stuff times 10, join the Steamed Ham Society, where not only do I post all that stuff, but we talk about it in depth, and with hundreds of other people who want to share their food interests with each other.
Yeah. So, and it's not just hamburgers.
Oh no, that's just the name, because I have to see, because people know what that is. That's how, and I wrote it. I have to kind of that's my brand, and I have to I got to hype that, because it's a good way to connect people's brain. Is like, oh, that's from The Simpsons. This is the guy from The Simpsons. That's hamburgers. It's kind of a 3-step mental process, but that's
Yeah.
what it is. And hopefully I will get the trademark for steamed hams, which I am working on. And then you might start seeing them in the frozen food section.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting way to go. That was one of the things that when I had Schultz's Pit Room on with Bill. They were talking about some of the stuff and it was coming down the pipe in the future. This the possibility of having a commercially available Sensei sausage.
I was so excited to hear that when I heard that on your podcast. That
Yeah.
I would be loading up on that stuff if they had, especially if they had
Yeah.
his sausages in as you said, if they had those in, we got Adele's all over the place, we got Johnsonville all over the place, but his are like 40 times better than those. And
Yeah.
I'd drive 40 miles to find them in a supermarket.
Yeah. And I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, if Bill does this and then the other Bill does this, they can link up and do like a review, Bill's review of Bill's sausage,
Yes.
Bill squared.
Uh-huh.
So hit me with all your social medias, and we will wrap this old girl up in a bow, and we'll let you get back to your weekend.
Terrific. Okay, well, I'm that Bill Oakley, Oakley, on Instagram and Twitter. And if you want to join the Steamed Ham Society, Steamed Hams with an S Society.com. $5 a month, Discord based, a lot of fun. And that's pretty much it. And other things I have, I'm still, as I said, I still write. I actually have a thing on Audible. I have a series on Audible starring Natasha Lyonne. That is my main job that I write and produce. And it's a kind of a radio show type comedy. And that that's what I do full time. And that will be coming out probably not for another year or two, but you'll see if you follow me on those socials, you will see an adequate amount of hype for it when it starts to be ready for release.
Awesome, awesome. And guys, that'll put this week's episode of the Smoke Ring Syndicate in the books. Shout out to my guest, Bill Oakley, former writer of The Simpsons and huge food lover. Bill, I appreciate your time. And as always, keep smoking.